Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. Of
RefTime.
RefTime. In the studio with us today, we got the great, the one, the only, the 6'2". I thought it was higher.
You're not taller than him?
You kind of look at me in the
Okay.
eye.
With shoes.
Okay.
Okay, what's her name?
The great, the wonderful, the one and only, the 6'2", Julie Beck. You like that?
Sure.
Everybody says they go, sure. Like, I put all that work in and I get nothing but a sure.
I don't know, did they do it better in high school?
Yeah, how'd they announce you in high school?
Well, that wasn't my name in high school.
Well, that's
Oh, that's right. What was your maiden name?
Meshburger.
Meshburger.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
That's a mouthful.
How'd they say that? How'd they introduce you?
A lot of times they just call me Mesh. Or
Mesh?
Yeah.
Julie Mesh.
Well, again, maybe they said Meshburger. I don't recall. That was a long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. So what high school did you go to?
South Adams.
Okay, don't tell us. What is South Adams' nickname? The South Adams, it's not the Jets.
No.
South Adams.
That's Adams Central.
Something to do with fires?
I don't know, we don't have time for that right now. Fires, something.
It's going to mess with you. That's
Yeah,
why he's
it
saying
is.
that. What was it?
Starfires.
Starfires. South
You did the
Adams.
fires though? That was good.
Yeah,
I'm proud
that
of
was
you.
good.
I didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so now you are, you played basketball. Did you also play volleyball
Of course.
in high school and college? But
Yes.
I think you played in both in high school and college?
I didn't, well, they wanted me to do a fifth year with basketball, and I just kind of decided I was kind of burnt out at that point, and I went for a couple practices, and I said, hey, coach,
Not
I'm
for
done.
me. So you played both basketball and volleyball in high school and in college, both sports?
I didn't end up playing basketball then. I only went for a
Oh.
couple practices.
Okay, because I would say that's hard in college to play dual sports.
Yeah.
What college did you go to?
Indiana State.
You went to Indiana State?
Yes, sir.
I
Aww.
went to Indiana State.
Aw.
I never knew that.
Yes.
Only for a couple years though.
I
Then he
went
transferred out.
for 3 years, then I
Okay.
transferred. Yeah.
Because they wouldn't let him play basketball.
That is, you have to say it, but that is the truth, actually. Yeah. Got cut the first year, and I went out again, said, I'm going to make it, and got cut a second time.
But you made it through the first round the second time.
The second time I did make it through the first round.
So,
Okay.
But
got to give you props. But
so how was volleyball? How was the record? How was the team when you went there and played there? How were
They were about 50%. They were 50-50 in the conference. It was,
they? All four of your years?
yeah.
now were you
Yeah,
this
roughly.
tall in college?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes we have growth spurts after high school, and so I didn't.
I did not. I was done growing by my sophomore year in high school. My sister, however, she grew after high school, which is not normal for
Right.
girls,
Right.
but she did, yes.
But you say you're only 6'2", but
Would
and that
you not say
surprises me.
only? Like
Well,
only. I mean,
6'2 1/4", does that make you happy?
Well, it's just that whenever we stand next to each other, it seems like we're looking each other eye to eye. And I'm 6'4". So
Well, I stand up.
You stand up, like some people slouch and you
Yeah.
stand up.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. A lot of, especially women, I think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that are tall, they probably slouch more.
You think you guys do that because the men around you are not as tall and psychologically you don't want to make them feel a certain way? I don't know.
Possibly.
And maybe that's too much psychological stuff on a show right now, but
I don't
Right.
know.
All right.
I
so-
think it's just not, it's not becoming to slouch.
I agree. So after college,
Mm-hmm.
because I know you've been coaching for quite a while, when did you get into coaching?
Well, I had gone over to Germany and I was playing professionally, and with that first team that I was playing with, I started coaching one of the junior team, and the owner of the team wanted me then the following year to then take over the team to be a player coach. Wasn't quite ready for that. I said, I think you're a little bit naive in what it would take to be a coach in the second Bundesliga, which is basically a D2 here. I went on to then play on a team in Hamburg, and there again I took on one of the younger teams, coaching-wise, and eventually did become a player coach over in Hamburg.
Now, you know, I gotta ask, between the two sports, which one's your favorite?
It's changed through the years.
Oh,
It's changed through the years.
that was a good politically correct answer. Yeah, she was smooth on that.
Well, you know, if you'd have asked me prior to my 8th grade year, probably even to middle school, or all the way through middle school, I would have said it was swimming.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was a swimmer, wanted to swim, had no desire to play volleyball, had no desire to play basketball whatsoever. It was actually a fight between my parents and myself. I grew up on a farm, and we were miles away from the school, and they sat me down and said, if you want to swim, you're going to find your own way. And there was nobody around us that was going back and forth to school.
Really?
And but we'll take you to volleyball and we'll take you to basketball.
Because they could get help from other driving parents?
Nope.
No, because
Because
they
they
preferred
wanted-
those sports.
They wanted me to see me try those sports out.
They didn't get into swimming at
Wow.
all?
Nope. They wanted me to do those sports. My mom liked volleyball. My dad, avid basketball fan.
Wow.
Wow.
And I wasn't very happy about it for
I was
quite a
gonna say,
long
how'd you
time.
take that? Yeah. Because you said this occurred when you were about in 8th grade.
8th grade. I didn't touch a ball prior to that.
Yeah, for a little girl in the 8th grade, her parents won't let her do what she wants and forcing her, so to speak, to do what they wanted.
Teenager. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
So what made you ultimately decide to even play then? Because I think, you know,
yeah.
I would almost rebel and say, well, then
Yeah,
forget it. I'm not going to do
play it. I'm
anything.
not going to do anything, yeah.
Well, then I was going to have to sit at home with brothers and sisters and do nothing. That was not an option either.
I'm getting out of there. That's true. That
Yeah,
is
the
true.
look on her face makes me wonder, how many brothers and sisters and what was
I'm
the
one of
relationship?
6.
One of 6.
Yes, and I'm the oldest.
Oh,
That's
yes,
a basketball
I am
team right
definitely.
there, 6.
Yeah,
Well, I think
definitely
Dad-
getting out of the house.
Yeah, the oldest. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of responsibility would have fallen on you.
Very much.
So did your siblings play sports as well?
Sure did.
What'd they play?
Well, I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay.
I think all the brothers played basketball at some point. And then, of course, my sister, she also played volleyball, and she did play a little bit of basketball in college. She did her 5th year with basketball. She ended up playing at Ball State.
So did she have did she enjoy playing sports in college?
I believe so.
Okay. Did you?
In college?
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I did, yes.
Okay. Well,
All
you
right, so
played
you-
pro, so.
Yeah, so
There-
you went from swimming, because you said it changed over the years, so you went from swimming, and then what was your...
I absolutely loved basketball for quite a long time.
Okay.
And then you know how they say there's always that one coach.
But wait. I'm missing the link. You went from I want to swim and I don't want to play this stinky volleyball or basketball to loving basketball. How did you transition?
I was a natural athlete. And
Okay.
so I found out I was pretty good at it.
Oh,
And, you know, when you're
It
good
doesn't
at
hurt that you're tall, too.
Well, I also spent a lot of time working at it. It wasn't just
natural,
being
huh?
tall.
Right.
I worked a lot on ball handling and shooting, and there were a lot of times. I was fortunate enough that we had a barn that was large enough, tall enough that Dad put a hoop out there in the middle of the winter. I was out there with my gloves, and I was shooting, and I was, you know, the typical Indiana basketball player, at least from back in that era.
Right.
That was hardworking and
Hoosier day back in the
Hoosier day. Yes.
Hoosier.
Yes.
Hoosier.
Yes. I was fortunate enough to be chosen playing Nancy Ream tournaments, and you know.
we have a
We have a celebrity.
famous one.
Yeah.
We picked a good one.
We did. We did.
But that's like I said, a long time ago.
So, okay, you played basketball, you played volleyball. Which do you think was your best sport?
I was definitely better at basketball coming out of high school than I was volleyball.
But volleyball picked you up for scholarship in college.
I had options in both directions. I actually had options even to do track. at a
Like
high
you
school.
said, you were a natural athlete.
Yeah.
So I'm curious then, how did you land volleyball? If you love basketball better, how did you land playing volleyball? And did Indiana State
Well,
also?
she was saying that there was that one coach, and it was the one basketball coach, I'm assuming, that turned you off of it.
Yes.
Oh, let's hear that story. That sounds like a juicy one.
Yeah, that's a juicy one.
Yeah.
That's a definitely
We
juicy
got
one.
a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, there was definitely a basketball coach where she just kind of drained the love. And with the opposite effect happening at the same time with volleyball, I had that coach that just poured it in.
Yeah, I remember my
So-
high school basketball coach was not.
Yeah.
She
She designed drills on how to torture me.
Wow.
And in fact, she designed a drill that was specifically named the hamburger drill. You know, mesh burger, hamburger. And I had no desire to continue on.
And
Yeah.
this was in what grade?
That was my senior year in high school.
Why do you think this coach did that?
I don't know.
So with that experience, then how did that influence you to be a coach better? Or
Well, I just knew I'd never treat a player that way. I mean, when you get up at the end of the year and the coach is handing out awards and stands up in front of the whole entire everyone and is talking about it's not the player that has the most points, it's not the player that has the most rebounds, it's not the player that leads the team in every category that's the most valuable player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So who was, in her eyes, who's the most valuable player then?
anybody but Meshburger. I figured that part out.
Well, hopefully she didn't last very much longer in her coaching career.
I didn't follow her.
I want to say something mean, like is she still living? But I'm not going to say. Did I just say that?
You
out
know
loud?
what? You know what? You know what? Everybody has their
People
battles, and
change.
you know what? She directed me in the right path. So
Yep.
Yeah, because of your experience.
she was there.
you
She
know.
was there for a reason.
Yeah.
So then you were in Germany, you played and you were coaching for quite a while. So what brought you back to the States?
Well, I always knew that going overseas was just for a time, and I had met my now ex-husband over there, and had my oldest daughter, and I was ready to come home. I was ready to be an adult, get a real job.
Yeah, that's kind of underrated. Yeah.
Now I've got to
Overrated.
do this. I've got to
Overrated.
do this only for the sake of our viewers, because there's a lot of people that are curious about playing sports across seas. Everybody wants to go be a star on the pro level. So what is it like for a player as young as you were to be in another country? And did you feel homesick? What was it like to deal with a different culture? What was that like?
Oh, I had a blast.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I had a good time. It was a
Okay.
great experience.
And what country was this?
Germany.
Germany. Okay.
Yeah, I got to see things that I would have never gotten to see otherwise. I got to travel to a bunch of different countries. I got to learn a new language.
So you sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Natürlich. Nach
I
7
don't
Jahren
know what I just said. I don't know what you said. Okay.
sollte man ein bisschen
I'm
Deutsch
done.
sprechen.
Stop. I'm done. I don't know what you just said, but I got a feeling it wasn't nice.
I said after 7 years you should speak a little German.
Oh, that was nice. Okay.
And
Thank
for
you.
those German speakers out there, I hope you enjoyed that demonstration.
What is sprechen Sie Deutsch?
I
don't
said,
know.
do you speak German?
Oh, wow. I said that.
Yeah. And the Z is is the formal you. It's a polite way to say you.
So you do speak fluent German? Okay.
Maybe a little rusty, but yes.
All right. So when we met, you were actually coaching club volleyball, correct? And that's been a number of years ago that we've met. So how long have you been coaching club?
Well, I coached Empowered for 7 or 8 years. I can't even remember at this point. 7 or 8 years. And almost the same length of time then at Snyder. But I kind of hung up the reins here this year.
And now you have come to what we call the dark side.
Yes. And a lot of people have been telling me I needed to do it, including yourselves. every time you'd see me, you need to do this, you need to do this, for quite a while. And I was like, no, I'm never going to do that. That does not sound like fun. Because quite honestly, as a coach, as a player, when you are going to tournaments and you have to step in and you have to be that down official, or you have to officiate, or you have to line judge, it stinks. It's awful. It is boring. It is
I gotta say,
a drag.
It can be very boring, but it all depends on the perspective. So we were doing a tournament down in Kentucky, the Bluegrass Festival. Not Bluegrass Festival, the Bluegrass Tournament. This past year, and I had this team that was my work team, and these girls were line judging, and they were the most fun girls, and they were making calls. I mean, they were.
And they were making correct calls?
Yes, correct calls. They were animated. They were, they were swinging. They were just doing fun stuff. And it was like a competition between this line judge and that line judge, who could show up the other one better. And it wasn't that they were, they weren't being disrespectful. Yeah. They weren't, it was just a lot of fun. And I mean, I'm up on the ladder and I am just cracking up the entire time. I'm looking over, I'm like, oh.
That was good.
Okay.
That's pretty
what
good.
You got?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm talking from my own perspective.
Yeah, and it can be very boring.
When I, a lot of times I was the coach, and when you don't have someone that can step in to even relieve you enough to go get some extra water or to step away for a few minutes, those are long days. Really long days.
And I'll tell you this too, Julie, whenever we're doing volleyball and we have to train our line judges or I have to give them a quick training, I tell them up front, I said, look, you guys probably don't want to do this. And they go, yeah. I said, no, you can be honest. Well, I really don't. I said, the reason you don't is because you haven't been trained. And they go, what do you mean? And I said, look, my partner and I, we line judge college. I said, so I'm going to train you real quick on college knowledge as a line judge. And I'll give them, and when I get done, they go, thanks. Nobody ever told me that. So when you know better, you do better and you feel better.
Yeah.
So now
and more confident.
And that's a big part. Confidence.
And where I'm going with that is that now, as I'm stepping to the plate, so to speak, and I'm coming in as a referee, it's a whole different perspective.
It is.
I'm actually strangely enough, enjoying it.
Yeah.
So wait, I got to back up though, because you said never would you do this.
Yes.
But now you're doing this. So what was the change? What
what got you in?
I did it for my kids.
Okay.
Really?
Uh-oh.
This is emotional.
Get off that subject.
Well,
I told you.
but I'm glad.
Yeah.
Don't you get me to crying up in here.
I do my best.
That's gonna really look bad. But no, the thing about officiating, though, we've done it for so long that we don't really know. Because she used to coach, though. She coached basketball. Three different high schools, I believe.
Yeah.
North side, south. No, north. Yeah, north side, south side, and Wayne.
Yeah. Wayne, I wasn't really on the coaching staff. I just helped out. Yeah.
I'd never really done any coaching. I played, and I coached our kids.
He tried to coach as my assistant, and that was a disaster. I was like, sit down, would you stop?
I'm going to have to get Bud Wolf on because he's the one that got me that day.
Bud put him in check.
Oh, he put me in check in a heartbeat. I looked at him, I was like, did you just say, I'm the assistant. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have. But officiating gives, and we tell people that officiating gives you a completely different perspective on the game. And most of us don't know that until we get in. But just officiating because somebody asked you to come out of stands, that's different from getting trained.
Yes.
Once you're trained to know what to look for,
Right.
what to ignore, meaning your partner has that area, you got this area, how to communicate with your partners, the players and the coaches and the fans if necessary. Once you learn all that, it brings an aspect to the sport that most people will never understand.
Right.
And it's a special feeling. That's why when you become part of it, you're kind of the special fraternity or sorority thinking people.
Right.
And you just understand. But the advantage you have is you coached. To me. And played. That's a huge advantage. Don't you think so?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just from me transitioning from being a coach into officiating, it does. It just gives you a whole new perspective and makes you kind of value things differently.
Yes. Absolutely.
When I was a coach and you'd get upset and frustrated with the way that the officials would or would not call things, now that I'm an official, I understand why some things maybe were called or missed, because sometimes we miss things. I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. I make I make mistakes.
Not even,
He's
I
pretty
am
perfect,
a perfect referee
So-
from that bench.
Yes.
Well, then you and I could work together because perfect.
From that bench, I
describes
am
my
perfect.
ability.
Yeah. From the bench, from the stands. There are perfect officials in the stands and on the sidelines, but when it comes to actually you being responsible for blowing the whistle,
It's a completely different. It
Totally
takes you into
different
a different
feeling.
realm because then you realize. I think most people, once they get a chance to officiate, even if they haven't been trained, they realize, wow, there's a lot that I haven't been responsible for. And then when you get trained, you realize what you're supposed to be responsible for, and you realize what you've missed or what you didn't, and you're going, oh. So now it becomes a self-governing thing. And I don't mean to sound cocky, but I've been reffing so long that I get comfortable sometimes, and that can be a bad thing. So as a new official, you're probably going to be more effective than me because you're going to be more conscious about.
Maybe.
Okay, I tried to help her. She just.
Sorry. Well, but there are some things that I may let go from having that experience, being a player, being a coach, that you may be a little bit more picky about, where I'm just like, yeah, that's not really that big of a deal.
That's true.
So having that different perspective, I look at it a little differently than you do.
So let's talk about something we were talking about before the show started.
Yes.
Doubles.
Doubles.
How do you feel about as a coach, player? How do you feel about doubles now?
and now that you're officiating,
Yes.
so there's
Now that you're an official,
I'm probably gonna err on the side of letting them play.
Really?
Yes.
That's not what I expected to hear.
Because what advantage does it really give your team if your setter doubles the ball? Now, if when I was down at AAU's refereeing this summer, they said if it looks like a lame duck, shoot it out of the air. I thought that was a great analogy.
That's an interesting way to put it. I've never heard of that.
I said, shoot the duck out of the air. I said, okay, that sounds like a pretty good one.
So basically, in our officiating terminology, if it's egregious.
Yes, correct.
You like saying that word, don't you?
Egregious.
Yes.
I can't spell it, but yeah.
But what advantage does it give that hitter? It's not going to help them track the ball better. It's not going to help them time the ball better. It's not going to help them get a better contact on that ball. It's not giving them an advantage whatsoever.
I agree, but you said before the show we were talking, you said that if it goes over the net, you are going to call it.
That's different.
Absolutely. That's a total different
That's an
thing.
advantage.
But how's that an advantage?
Because it went over the net, now this team has to play it.
Yes.
Yeah, but
When it's going across the net, the other team is having to track it. And if it's not coming across in a normal manner, that it makes it more difficult to track for the other team.
well,
To
having
me,
not played the
it's
sport,
the
I don't
same
get
as
it.
me taking the ball and me placing it. Well, if you're going to allow them to get away with me doubling it across the net, then why can't I go ahead and just place it?
Okay, I didn't play the sport, so I'm having a hard time with that. And as a volleyball official, I get a lot of coaches looking at me crazy when I don't call what you might call egregious doubles, because I'm thinking if it went over the net, it went over out of control. So this team, by sending it over there, is at a disadvantage. Now this team,
Is that a disadvantage? Because now they have to play that
But
ball that came across the net, whereas if you call it a double, they get the point and we move on.
but usually when you double the ball, it's going over like this, not like this. It's usually
Not
just
necessarily.
floating.
It just depends.
Okay.
Because if it's a double, that means they come off of a two-hand hit, which means chances are it's going like this maybe, or like this, but it's never going like this. No, the girls don't get up there and shoot it like this very often. And guys, it doesn't happen that often that it goes down like a kill, like a spike.
The point is, I think it's a disadvantage for that team to have to play that ball that was doubled.
Well, maybe you two are right because you agree on that, but I'm still trying to as much volleyball as I've seen, I'm trying to figure out how a double gains an advantage for the team to put it over there. Usually
Because
it's
now
just floating,
now it went over.
but it's floating. So that means there's no problem getting to it and playing it. Unless they're mentally, and they do that.
They do
double,
that.
So in their minds, they think it's a double, so they stop playing.
Well, there's that
But
aspect
that, to me,
of it.
that's their fault because they stopped playing.
But I definitely agree with Julie that 9 times out of 10, if the setter doubles the ball, there's no real advantage gained because I'd say 9 times out of 10, the hitter hits it into the net, out of
It's a bad
bounds,
set.
it's a bad set. And
Yeah.
so the hitter typically does not get a good hit on it. Typically. But on that third ball over, it should be called. I agree.
Yes.
And I'm not arguing that you guys shouldn't do that. It's just I'm still, you know, I've struggled with this for a long time, the double thing. I've talked to veterans, I've talked to newbies. I'm like, I don't get that because I didn't play. Basketball, that's a different animal because I played it, so I know the advantages, disadvantages on defense and offense. Volleyball, I'm still going, I don't understand the disadvantage of a double because the ball is still just floating around anyway, but I get where you're coming from. So do you guys think that
Well,
as a
you
coach-
referenced a carry, okay, and the
Yes.
defense.
Right.
What you're saying right now is the same to me. Is that why is it a problem to carry the ball?
Okay.
It's not okay because it messes the defense up.
Okay.
What you're saying, it's the same thing as with the double.
Okay.
That double coming across, there's a certain way that you read that ball as a defender.
Okay.
Okay, if it's coming across clean as opposed to if it's a junk ball.
Okay. I can get what you gave me the scenario to something I can relate to, which is basketball. I get it. I mean,
And that's
I
the
don't
coach
have
me
to
coming out.
say that again.
That's coach me coming out.
Whatever. I mean, coaching me on my own show. What's wrong with this picture? No, but no, I gotta give you some of that. I appreciate that because that does help, and I think that is why you're probably going to make a pretty good official, is because you've played dual sports, so you can relate different things to people, especially coaches, to help them understand why this is going this way or why it went that way. Because we all know that in officiating, a big part of it is communication. But another big part we talked about before the show too is, what's the word? Judgment.
Yes.
Judgment.
Yes.
So player, coach, and official, how important is judgment?
Oh, it's huge. It's everything.
It's everything?
In
Sure.
volleyball,
Yes.
heck yeah, it's all about
Everything's
judgment.
Yeah, it's judgment.
So if I judge that it's not a double?
Well, then it's not a double.
You can't question your judgment.
But everybody thinks that when a double is obvious that it shouldn't be a judgment. But if it's coming over the net, it's a double, but the same hit that's on their first hit or second hit to set it up is not a double. It's still a double.
But again, if it's on that second, now again, you're looking at whether it was egregious, first of all. Secondly, was there an advantage gain?
Okay.
Because again, if I jack a setup and she can't get to the ball anyway, it's going to be the point on this side anyway, right?
And I just want to emphasize to people that as an official, you know, that people think officiating is easy, but we get all this stuff we're talking about. That stuff has to go through your mind in a split second. You have to make a judgment call, and the important thing is the call you make, right? You
Yes.
agreed? Okay.
Well, and in that training we just had, they said kill the play, take a breath before you make that call. So there, you should be taking that second to, okay, what did I really see before you're making that call?
I agree.
Not that I always do, but
You learned me some new stuff today.
Well,
Think we're getting ready to
unfortunately, I
close
think we
out?
got to get ready to wrap up.
What events do we have coming up? We've got Ref Training School.
Yep.
Well, we just completed a class.
Yep, so check us out on reftrainingschool.com
RefTrainingschool.com.
for future
So
training
say it,
dates.
Say it, Ref Training. Say it.
And
Nobody heard you. Oh my goodness.
we also just had our Hoosier 3-on-3 event July 12th. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. And then we decided to go ahead and follow that up with a back-to-school
So we have a
3-on-3
back to
tournament.
school 3-on-3, Hoosier 3-on-3. Look for it on our website, Hoosier3on3.com.
Hoosier3on3.com.
You did that one pretty good. Okay, so yeah, just check us out on Hoosier3on3.com, and you can see our next date coming up on September
September.
28th,
Yep.
and that'll be at Smith Academy for Excellence. So we look